And I'm live. Welcome back, guys, to another. Well, we'll call it not another. We'll just call it what it is. To an absolute miracle for 2026. Oh, I don't know what's happened with the camera. I'm still lost for words. I can't believe we've absolutely run away with it today. I thought it was an unbelievable game. It was the United of old, if you like. And it's going to be a good show. I can see where we need to start. First off, thing I'm going to say is get in the chat. Let me know how you saw the game. Let me know about a lot of things. But the first place I want to start is about 20 minutes in, and how this game could have been so different. So let's get the negatives out of the way before we get the party poppers out, get the streamers, and continue to show us why it is red in Manchester tonight. But Diego Dalot, there's so many fans out there at the moment calling for him to be taken out of the team. Mazraoui's got a final, then he's back, and then we'll be ready to go. So, yeah, it is a big show, and I don't know. It's Dalot comes in, looks like he gets a touch on the ball, and then decides to take all of Dorgu's knee, leg, everything with a horrendous contact above the knee. I can tell you now, if someone had done that to me, I probably would have had their knee, had them by the throat. It was that bad. Nath, lovely to see you in here, mate. Taylor was lucky to get away with that challenge. I was watching it at home. Mrs. is a Liverpool fan. I'm a United fan. We're both saying red cards. As soon as he gave a yellow, I was in shock. And as soon as it went to VAR, I'm thinking it's a guaranteed red. Surely it was a guaranteed red. And some, I don't know, New Year magic, Christmas magic, call it what you want. Something happened and it has changed absolutely everything. So, right, bear with me for 2 seconds. There was some weird glare on my camera lens. Hopefully that has fixed it, but it doesn't look like it. I might need to swap cameras. So yes, that tackle is literally what we call a game changer. Bear with me 2 seconds. How that is. We're going to have to go with that camera, which means that certain things will probably get picked up. Right. Yeah. The tackle was late. Well, it wasn't late. Well, it was late because Dorgu managed to get something on it, but it did. It changed the whole momentum of the game. And then Luke Shaw flies in on the other side. All four fullbacks in the game end up getting booked. And Anthony Taylor, I thought, was absolutely appalling for the whole game. But I think the only thing worse was VAR. But yes, I thought at that point, great, Dorgu's going to tear him apart. But I can't do anything else but take my hat off to whatever Michael Carrick put in their food today. If the United players get pulled up for, like, I don't know, a drugs offence or something like that, because they were on it. They were so much more energy in the team. There was so much more fight, determination, passion. If you saw my preview, that's all I was asking for. Right at the very end, my plea was, can you please go out and just show us what you're made of? And for that reason, Carrick's just done what we expected, I suppose. The United way. Attack, fight for every ball, and defend in numbers. Starting lineup was very different from what anyone expected. If we all expected Sesko to be dropped, anyone who says that they saw that coming is an absolute liar. I'm telling you now. Cunha I could understand, but Sesko did not see happening. But it just enabled us to play, 4-5-1, low block and counter, because Man City put too many players forward. So fair play to them. Well, it's an awkward one, because all we did technically, Nathan, was take one attacker and put him in the defence. The 5 in midfield still stayed. So, we went from 3 at the back to 4 at the back, and lost one attacker. So it was more that they were more suited to run in behind, because you've got to remember, when Man City attack, if you let them pass the ball around our box, they will hold the ball up, they will look for the perfect pass. But what they start doing is the fullbacks start pushing forward, and they start inverting in, and then the best thing that could have happened to us was when they brought O'Reilly on, because he's actually a former number 10, but they're playing at left back. So I'm not sure how much of it was the way City played to how we played today. But given the freedom to the players, way I think was the key to that. Yes, I agree. I do sort of agree with that, but it was only they seemed to understand, and this is one thing they couldn't get out of Amarin. When they had the ball, they were free to do what they want. But when out of the ball and defending, they actually got back in numbers, and they sprinted back. So every time I saw Dalot sprint out to Dorgu, and Ahmad was right there inside of him, ready to go 2v1 or pick up the runner if he came through. And same with Shaw and Dorgu on the other side. I want a special mention for Dorgu, because we said he was superb on the right when he played it. We played the back four and we put him on the right. But I've been saying we bought a forward or a right-sided attacker in Dorgu from Lecce, and we were trying to play him as a wing-back. He's clearly just better at playing on the wing / in a forward position, left or right, because I thought today he done just as well as he did against Newcastle. Over on the left, got back, like I say, helped Luke Shaw out. Semenyo, he had 2 or 3 crosses into the box. That's about it, all he pulled off. And Dorgu, apart from getting kneecapped, he didn't produce anything out on the left. So it was a great start to the game. But there was some very questionable decisions by Anthony Taylor in the first half. I wasn't really sure how this game was going to pan out. For that exact reason, I thought, great, Luke Shaw, 3-4 minutes after Dorgu. I get why he was frustrated, because how that foul didn't get given, where Dorgu sort of got the ball and he's having a little dance with the defender. You can clearly see the defender's got his arm on his private bit, shall we say, and got a grip of him, and that's what makes him go down. And then Luke Shaw just smashes into Rodri. Can't complain, We've been saying they've got to put tackles in. We've got to show them, who's boss, and that we're here to fight and play, so to speak. But yeah, I thought, great. Both fullbacks, Semenyo, Dorgu, now we're in trouble. But to a man, everyone done their job. Casemiro, I thought, was absolutely superb. I thought he's been brilliant all season. I've constantly defended him. The main fact that Mainu came in and they just seemed to work perfect. There were, at all times it was, if you go, I'll stay, and they were like that, where Bruno was very much always up, and it always looked like that, like the eye test with an optician. Follow my finger. No, where's Bruno gone? It's very much like that. So I think just that simple change of bringing Mainu in, who I thought got out of trouble a lot. He looked lucky at times to get out of that trouble, but I thought he had a very, very good game. And then we had the 2 offside goals in the first half. The first one I thought was tight, very tight. I was hoping the foot was going to be like more extended, but we were just unlucky. So Ahmad was off, took it so well, gets around Donnarumma, slides it in, and then obviously the Bruno one. The Bruno one I called offside as soon as it was played. I thought he was clearly offside, so I wasn't surprised it was given. I saw Ake was the deepest, and Bruno was just in front of him. If anything, we just couldn't play the ball quick enough to get him onside. And then I thought, hand him on Hart. I thought, oh my God, what is he doing? Goes past the keeper, overruns it, and then slams on the brake as the defender's sliding into the goal and rolls it in. And I thought, oh, he's just going to get absolutely swarmed by the returning. But again, he took that chance. And there's something I've been saying both on here and on other shows where Sesko, one of my biggest concerns with Sesko is he doesn't score when he's offside. There's no bigger practice you can have than in a match when you actually get yourself offside and you have to go and put the ball away. So, Bruno did calmly strokes it away. We thought 1-0 again. Didn't happen. But great, we're on top. And I think at that point when we scored 2, they whacked the old stats up and Haaland had only had 4 touches in our box, or 4 touches in our half, actually. That's my mistake. 4 touches in our half because he just didn't see the ball. We get to half time and, let me know, those that are in the chat, let me know half time. Did you see this game going this way? 0-0. I was literally bricking it. I didn't know what to do at half time. I was like, well, I've done boot camp this morning with the other half. I'm just going to start stretching out. Can't listen to the analysis, mute the TV, because you knew what they were going to say. Is this the same old United? Haven't taken their chances, and it was going to come back and go completely the other way when Man City come out. Right, Mania looked like he had a point to prove in the game. Yeah, Nate, what I will say, I don't know if everyone saw it, at some points he was shouting at other players for not doing their job as well. I can't tell you how much I love to see that on the player. He's done his role, the ball's gone dead, and then he's having a go, no, you, and you saw him doing that, pointing. There's nothing better in football than that. If you can't take that, then you shouldn't be on the pitch. Should have been 4 or 5-0. Yeah, my nephew said the same. My nephew was there just off to the side of the Stretford end today. So he was saying he didn't even feel Dalot touched the thing. He was opposite that. So I do think he has rose-tinted glasses on, but I thought the Maguire header, anyone who has a go at Maguire there has never got up and headed the ball like a centre-back from that close. He headed the ball against the bar because he was so close, and his forehead was level with the bar. Where he wasn't above the ball, he wasn't below the ball, so it just went forward, and it was just unlucky. Any further out, he probably scores because he probably can actually get a bit more direction on it. Both goals, to the eye in the ground, they thought was onside, but yeah, there was some other chances as well. Donnarumma, how that guy has not come off with. I know they've lost like 2-0 in the end, but surely Donnarumma was man of the match for Man City because he was the Casemiro save. I thought was brilliant. There's probably a lot of people going to go in. It was a penalty, but he didn't go down, so it wasn't even looked at, which again is a stupid rule. But the way he just holds his leg up there to keep himself as big as possible when diving down is actually a really hard thing to do. And, on another day, it hits the foot and goes in, or it just avoids the foot all entirely. But his hand, his foot are literally touching. He's at full spread. So that literally could have been 4-0 at half time, and we're walking off 0-0. So like I said, I was very worried. Second half, I think we should all probably send some thank you cards to Pep. He brought on O'Reilly and Shirky. Shirky was absolute shit. And he deserves all the stick he got from the United fans walking off the pitch at the end of the game. for what he said about Leon and going to City and everything like that. So he really has had to take it on the chin tonight. But O'Reilly, so in Man City's youth team, O'Reilly was a number 10. How he's getting brought on as a left back, I do not know. And you can see when he's around the box and he's crossing and he's finishing, it is more of an attacking player. But, you know, he got booked within 5, 6, 7 minutes of being on. And Ahmad just robbing him, getting down there, getting down the wing. He even stopped, asked for the foul, and stayed in front of him and still kept the ball. I thought that was superb. But what I liked is that when we came out, Man City, we forced Man City into making changes. And one of the best things you can do as a fan is see the other team, and that's going to fire you up. Going, well, we play so well, they're having to make changes. They weren't making changes because they were 4 or 5 nil up at half time. They're making changes because actually it ain't working. So they've done that. They've gone more attacking, played right into Michael Carrick's hands of counter-attacking football. So we end up with then basically only having 2 centre-backs in the defence who aren't that good anyway, physical, but not the best at marking. And, well, we exposed it. We exposed it so well. First one from Mbeumo. You know, stupid free kick we give away. I didn't even think it was a free kick, but Harry Maguire pulls down the player, gets himself back in the defensive line, clears the ball, and then bang, bye-bye. We're off. We're out. Or was that the third? That might have even been the third or the second. I can't remember, but all 3 goals were identical. Just get the ball in behind, counter-attack. The third one was the Cunha one, wasn't it, where he pulls it back? No, the Harry Maguire was the second one where we ended up 4 on 2 at the back because they had that many people forward, and we gambled. But the finish from Mbeumo, bit of commentator's curse for those watching it in the UK with Sky Sports. I don't know if you saw/heard. Commentator goes, there's not been a goalkeeper for Man City who has kept a clean sheet in the last 2 or in both derby games since 19 something. Next shot on target goes in. I was like, thank you for that. Take that all day long. So great finish. Donnarumma finally beaten. Mbeumo looked like the Mbeumo before he started resting up for the AFCON. So everything up until probably about the beginning of November. Today, I thought he ran it for everything, even with him and Dorgu running into each other at times, running onto the ball, where instead of being this nice under-8s football where it's like, you have it, no, you have it, you have it. It was my ball, and they just took it off and kept going. There was a lot of that, a lot of one-touch passing, moving the ball quickly. So yeah, we went through that, got ourselves up, and then quickly it seems like we got the ball back on the spot after a VAR decision finally went our way, put it down, and it was as if they had the mindset which I've always talked about, where it's 0-0 and we go again. So what's this? Well, yeah, no, I was going to come on to this a little bit later, but I'll address it now. Sesko, I think, today didn't suit the counter-attacking style. But Michael Carrick's isn't a counter-attack, sitting deep block and counter. He's more of a mid-block manager. So I think this was more a specific thing for the City game, where we'll just get the ball out, get it to Bruno. And Bruno is one thing he can do is hit a long ball into space that doesn't go out of play, and it worked wonders today. So yeah, but yeah, having Sesko on the bench, I felt sorry for him that he didn't get to come on when he took Mbeumo off and brought on Cunha, I generally, so this is perfect segue into the second goal. I was like, oh no, I'm not sure about that. Surely Sesko holding the ball up is the better option. Because I just thought, or I do feel that Cunha and Bruno don't work well together. But the way we were playing today, there was enough distance between the two of them. There needs to be at least 20, 30 yards separation between Cunha and Bruno, because they're not the biggest runners in, pass move. That's not them. They rather get the ball and run with it, or in Bruno's case, get the ball and hit a 40, 50 yard pass, which we saw today worked to perfection. A lot of switches of play or deep balls into the box from Bruno. Obviously, that's all going to go to his chance creation stats, which I don't agree in. That's just kicking the ball into the box and hoping. But so Sesko 100% is going to find it hard to get in. And like you said, great. Well, we used to have 4 or 5 strikers and only play 2, and they all were good enough to start. So if you're Manchester United, it's a headache you've always had. Great attackers. Now let's work on those midfielders. So yeah, second goal. Dorgu, literally the most simplest thing. Again, caught on the ball, run past, sort of lackluster, trying to stop Cunha from getting there. All he did was a little stop and go, shifts it, and out there, I don't know any of you that wouldn't have been saying, what we need is someone, when we get the ball wide, just put it in the box. Put it in the box. Knock it past him. Next touch, in. Shift it, cross it. And that's all Cunha did. To be fair, it's not a great ball into the box because he's falling off balance, and it's more of a driven hook. I think he tried to smash it across, and it's worked out perfectly. Dorgu's come on the blind side of the defender and, bundled it past the goalkeeper. He's done so well to control that left foot, like to make it stiff enough to just guide it into the post and not go flying off. I'm not entirely sure on that one, Danny. I love Ahmad. If he grows up quickly, which he seemed to, or coming back from like today, I thought he made every right decision he could have made. So I need to see him now going through to the end of the season, playing every game like he did today. So, and then maybe we've got this conversation in the next 2-3 years that he'll be up there. But he certainly could be one up there with how can I phrase it? When you're looking at the African players, Ahmad has got the potential to be held in the same regard as a George Weah or Didier Drogba, top attacking talent, and Mo Salah from the AFCON. I agree. I think we're literally, you just put it up there. I was going to say fundamentals are just needs to go up his level. Exactly. He needs to make sure he meets the ball right on every pass. Make sure that he knows when to pass and when to dribble, when to cross, and work more on that right foot. He's got to be able to go both ways. Mane's another one. Samuel Eto'o. All of these players that they didn't. Well, with the exception, I'm going to say, of George Weah, they didn't start amazing in their career, but by God, they were unbelievable and literally legends of the game that I couldn't do anything but look up to it in a way from an attacking sense, especially George Weah. When he was at AC Milan, I just thought he was superb. We all saw the George Weah goal where he beats the entire team from one box to another. And, sometimes when I see Ahmad, he could definitely do that. Whether Ahmad has got the Reggie Miller in the corner flag, giving it some of that, I don't know. But I wouldn't put it past him after I've seen his dancing for the Ivory Coast, or as he was doing his, welcome dance. Exactly what a player he was. But yeah, Cunha gets the ball across, and at that point, I don't know if I'm just getting soft and do too much coaching in my old age, but I was feeling sorry for Donnarumma because he saved everything, and then literally he's conceded 2 goals. He's like, what the hell am I meant to do for both of them? And let's be fair, I don't really feel sorry for Donnarumma. I just see it from both that sense that, you know, what's going on? You know, is this actually happening? I had to check for what I was drinking was actually water and not like straight vodka, because I thought I was either massively high, massively drunk, or still actually asleep at that point when we'd gone 2-0 up. And then what was it? 10 minutes later, Cunha again. Cunha's in, beats the player. And this one, I'm not going to say, like, oh, let's just say it, you know, it's not like I'm going to get checked by the PGMOL. But my namesake on the United stand, he always says this. And for once, I actually agree with him. I wasn't watching, for obvious reasons. We were watching the game. But why did they not show the 3rd goal offside during the match? Because I haven't seen it back yet. I've got to go look for it. But for me, he was onside. For me, maybe it was a shirt sleeve or something like that. But I'm saying it's the tightest one of the 3. And he looked onside. Cunha, as he went through, whether the pass across to Mount was offside, whether that sort of Mount had just got ahead of him. But again, we didn't see the lines for either. It was definitely a 10-minute VAR check, and they seemed to get it done very, very quickly. But what a news story that would have been. That would have been my real headline. Forget Manchester's red, guys, for the thumbnail when you see it at the end of this. That would have been, what the hell, one touch Mount, because I don't think he touched the ball after the gut, because we started holding it up and he was running around doing the doggy work, making sure we force the play where we wanted it in our press today. And I thought our press was chef's kiss. I thought it was absolutely superb. Evening, Trevor. Evening. I'm guessing Tactical Devils is finished now. If you've popped in the chat. Yeah, Trevor, great result today. Great. I'm actually glad you're in the chat, because you're probably someone who will appreciate the next bit after I'm just finishing off on the 3rd goal and the fact that it weren't showed on TV. So, yeah, 2-0. Then, for the first time this season, I'm going to say first time in 3 seasons, did you notice we took the ball to the corner flag? We were fucking around the ball in the corner flag to time waste. That is something that has cost us many a game under Ten Hag and Amorim, where we're just like, we're winning. It's injury time. Take the ball to the corner flag, and we've conceded goals. So I love the fact that we saw that. But, you know, as Trevor's just jumped in here now, I want to talk about how we actually played and whether this was a new manager bounce, whether the players just are shitting themselves, but they know, Jesus, we could be gone because we don't know who's coming in, but we do know this guy has been given the reins for 6 months, because we have not run like that in years. We have not pressed like that in years. And I can tell you that you can say, oh, we're used to playing 4-4-2, 4-4-1-1, 4-3-3, the 4 at the back. That's all bullshit. The way we ran and our mentality today was superb. It was absolutely superb. And it was the right mentality to have. But my fear is we don't see that again this season. Well, maybe we see it next week at Arsenal. And maybe we see it at Liverpool. But what about when we play Bournemouth? What about when we play West Ham? Are we going to press and run that hard against these other players? Because we beat City and I'm over the moon. I've just realised how much blue I've got in my background. It is a United colour, but right now I probably should have changed some of that. But yes, what do you guys say? Trevor, Danny, whoever else is in the chat, let me know. Were you shocked about how hard we worked? Because I got to admit, in the WhatsApp chats, I was very much pissed off that we were working this hard and we didn't work this hard under Amorim. like I say, getting back in the fullback positions and doubling up, it's not right as a professional footballer. I don't feel it's right. So let's see what the chat's saying. What's the chat saying here? Yeah, we haven't played that well in a long time. Similar to how we beaten in the FA Cup final, but today we were more dominant. We still didn't have much of the ball, believe it or not, because we let them have the ball. And that was how we opened the space up. Could be a new manager bout, but I think our attack is our best weapon and their defence is their worst. Yes, absolutely. So the game fit us like a glove. We will wait and see and see. I'm still sceptical. So you're sort of similar to me then, Trevor. You're probably thinking we do it against the big teams, but can we do it on a cold, windy night at Stoke, as the saying goes? Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. Our attack is our best weapon, and when Man City want to put fullbacks in the 18-yard box and leave 2v2 at the top, and they can't sprint, thank you very much, and they do that all the time, and it's definitely Pep's undoing. So I agree. Yeah, good to see. Yeah, Danny agrees as well. But one of the other things I did and I didn't like. So we'll cover the thing I absolutely love because I thought it was TV gold. I've got a clip on my phone. I haven't managed to upload it. But did anyone see Casemiro celebrating the third goal when it was disallowed? You see him piggyback onto Michael Carrick, celebrating like we just won the World Cup. And some people try and tell me that this guy is here just purely for the wages. He might not always play to his best. He might have the oldest legs on the pitch and sometimes look like he needs a simmer frame to get around. But that passion, that is what it's about to play professional football and want to win every game. I love it. I can't speak more highly about it. We know that Casemiro is a serial winner. And there was questions asked both by Amorim and by Fletcher about the players getting together and leading this team. That's the kind of leadership you need. Because he'd already gone back up, got the coat, he's gone back up, sat down, and then he was already back down. I don't know what he was doing. It's as if he come back down a bit like Ronaldo style, either sitting on the steps or not wanting to sit down, standing up, watching the game, which he can't actually do. So I'm not sure where he was, but he just came out of nowhere. On Carrick's back, I thought he was going to go down a touchline Mourinho style and knee slide like Ferguson in '99. I loved it, and I've got to bring it up. I just think it's a really, really important thing for us to see as United fans, that kind of passion. And Mbeumo had the passion when he scored. He's done the badge kiss now, so we can all say that he's always been a United fan and he's United through and through. So yes, I saw that. They were like best friends, and they could well be. These guys played probably against each other at some point, and in all fairness, they definitely got mutual respect. When you hear Pep Guardiola, what he says about Michael Carrick, and they played the same position, and we obviously know as United fans that Carrick is probably the most disrespected midfielder that we've had in the last 20, 30 years. When you think we all talk highly of Roy Keane, Paul Scholes, I will always speak highly of Nicky Butt. Park Ji-sung, great. Fletcher, great. Carrick is like, oh yeah, steady Eddie Carrick. It's so hard to do that in professional football. Just look like you're just always in the right place at the right time, taking the ball off someone's feet. I think he only scored about 5 or 6 goals for the club. I can't remember, but when he did score, it was a bloody important goal. I'm not sure who's got more goals, him or Gary Neville. Let's have a look. So he was like a child. Surprise present. Well, I think Carrick thought it was a surprise when he jumped on his back. I think he thought he got lucky. What did you think of Sesko not getting a minute? I was surprised, Trevor. We were just talking about this before you came into the chat. When Cunha came on, I would have expected that to have been a Sesko on for Mbeumo. because again, I know Sesko can run. He's quite quick, and he'll do the doggies and that. But I saw a different Cunha. Cunha's come on and he did that, and of course, he's created one and been robbed of the second. Robbed my FPL of points as well in that as well. So I wasn't happy about that. But Carrick obviously had a clear way of playing. But now I feel like playing City and playing Arsenal is very, very much the same. So does that mean Sesko now sits out for 2 games? You don't change a winning team. Arsenal are now going to be asking questions. Is that the way United are going to play? Are they going to sit in, soak up pressure and counter? Arsenal are a much better defensive team than City. It's chalk and cheese this season. So, yeah, it was a weird one. It was a weird one. But yes, was he putting down a marker to say, look, you need to do better? Possibly. Anyone who's seen me on other shows know that I still rate Rasmus Højlund. He may not have cut the mustard, but Sesko's had more shooting opportunities than Rasmus had for a whole of last season and almost 2 seasons. And he's for me, he's missing too many simple chances. But he's actually getting ahead of the defender and making contact, so he's actually unchallenged, and he's missing them. So maybe in training, Carrick hasn't liked it. It's all hearsay. We can only judge what's put on the pitch in front of us, and it does say a lot if you're not put on the pitch. So yeah, let's have a look. Cunha was possessed when he came on the defender, but he didn't do too much. He was possessed, and he hassled everyone. But when he got the ball, he played with as fewer touches as he needed. So I was more than happy with that because he's definitely been taking too many touches. Yeah, Danny, I think I'm sitting on 26 points with 1 player left to go. Arsenal draw. We've beaten City, and I've got Donnarumma as my goalkeeper. It's probably why I wanted him to get man of the match, but I generally thought he deserved it. But on another day, we could have had 6, 7, 8 goals against them. There was that many opportunities. But in the first half alone, could have been 5. So, what's this? Lacey will also be back for Arsenal, so another attacking option. Lacey's a hard one, Trevor. So Lacey played for the 21s. He scored both goals in the 2-1 victory. I genuinely actually thought he should have been suspended for that as well, because it's what they call Premier League 2 to 21. So I thought his suspension would have carried between both. It obviously doesn't. So yeah. Will he be back? Because Lacey plays where Ahmad was, where Mbumo plays. So he would be the backup, really, to Ahmad. And then Mbumo and Sesko, I'd say, are fighting for the same position in this setup. And then Cunha's sort of there as a third wheel with Mount. Cunha and Mount could replace Bruno. It's hard to see where Lacey gets his chance in that formation, but that's not necessarily his formation going forward. He does play more of a 4-3-3, 4-4-2 kind of rotation formation for Middlesbrough, but I don't know if Carrick will stick with that. Yeah, he will be lucky to get minutes, but he deserves it. He's so good. He just needs to get out on loan and get minutes under him. No different to what we did with Garner. We sent Garner out, who was probably the best prospect at that time, down to the Championship, down to Newcastle, down to Nottingham Forest. He helped get them promoted, and then we fucked up and sold him to Everton. At the end of the day, he should have been there and it was perfect cover right now for Casemiro, or probably pushing Casemiro out of the team, because he would have even been better playing along and learning alongside Casemiro week in, week out. We scored 2. We had 3 disallowed goals, 2 off the post. Oh, God, yeah, I forgot about Ahmad when he finally got through. He just couldn't get a shot off with his left, did he? He ends up swinging a right at it and smashing it against the post. Yeah, and Donnarumma had a worldie. So please tell me out of that how Donnarumma didn't get man of the match. Because I don't think Bruno ran the show as much as MUTV and Sky Sports wanted to. He was more disciplined today. I will 100% hold my hands up and say he put in a shift and he was very disciplined and he just did his job. And I've been asking for that for 5 years. You know, probably. But who was his when he played his best football? It was under Ollie. And who was coaching under Ollie? Michael Carrick. So could this be just a tenuous link, or could that actually be some fact behind that? What was that? Yeah, he'd be lucky to get minutes. And what's this? It's a loan to the Championship. Yeah, well, I wouldn't loan him to Nice. Nice are so far down the French league, it'll probably destroy him. But I'm surprised I don't understand why we're not loaning our players out just naturally, our 21s out, our good ones, even Obi out to Nice or the Swiss team where Kone was linked to. It's just a good way to give them more competitive football than a couple of games in whatever it is this year, the Viva Cup or Johnson's Paint Trophy or the Papa John's, the one where we play against League Two. I can never remember the name of it. It changes every season. So yeah. Trevor, do you generally think we were on the front foot? Because I felt we played on the back foot to a springboard. So I suppose it's probably how I look at the game to how maybe you're looking at the game. We are on the front foot because every time we got the ball, we went. It was tunnel vision, get forward. But we certainly defended the edge of our box so well and just knew where they were going to move the ball, intercepted it, and bang, bang, bang. Within 3-4 passes, we're halfway into their half and on a good counter attack with 2 or 3 runners in behind waiting for the ball. So yeah, it was just bloody great to watch. It really was great to watch today. And it's a shame we've not seen it in so long. And it isn't just down to the formation. Yeah. So I am going forward. I might start giving out a lot more detail about the youth players. It's finding time at the moment between the United games. They're obviously going to settle back down to 1 game a week. I'll have a lot more time to look at the youth. But when we were playing 2 to 3 games a week or within 7 days, the under 21 matches and things like that, I found really hard to keep an eye on. I'm just sort of watching the highlights and what was left, the extended highlights on MUTV. Ball, but we didn't let them have any time on the ball. No, and that was it. I even saw we were like going 2 or 3 on 1 sometimes, snuffing them out, not knowing they're going to turn back. So we've got a player in front, a player behind, and then one coming in from the side. And generally we're going to rob the ball off them or give away a foul. And I thought we actually were really disciplined and didn't give away as many fouls as Man City wanted. I thought Silva was diving all over the place in the first half, and how we weren't getting fouls for like pushes. Did anyone see this? Like every time we knocked the ball long and Boomo went to head it, and Ake just 2 hands shoves him in the back, like to go before going up for the header, like pushes him out of the way and heads it without jumping. I'm like, that's a foul. 1 hand to like create your space, forearm, something like that, creating space, jumping up. But that's a foul. There was a Luke Shaw header. Absolute 80s football. He's gone up for the header. He's smashed the header away. He's gone over the top of the player, almost flipped on his back on the floor. I was like, that's taking everything. The ball, the man, the air that he was breathing. But normally that's given as a foul. So again, in some ways, the ref was as shit for us as he was for them. I wouldn't say he was even. I'd just say he was crap. What's this? Me too, Mark. I haven't watched 18 till 21. Yeah, and it has just been their games. They've had a lot of midweek games, playing either the day before or the day after. And you think if I'm doing a preview show, then you've got either this show after the match or maybe the next night. it's very hard to catch up. And so I'm just sort of catching up while working or in the few sort of free times I might get when not coaching, to just go over what they're doing. And it's so different. And it's so different. Danny, you must, I don't know if you'll back me up here, but when you watch, say, the highlights, and it doesn't matter if you're watching the 18s with JJ or you're watching Obi, when they're getting their chances, it's so slow. It's like watching a VAR replay of the Premier League when they move the ball around. So when you get all these other videos putting out and media spin about these superstars of the future, it's just so slow to watch it. So all you can really watch for is how do they receive the ball? Technical ability. Are they playing in 2-3 touch, or are they taking too many touches on the ball? Yeah, the 18-21s I love to watch for that side of things, but I also have to put up with seeing constant videos going out about these superstars trying to create news which isn't there. So yeah, the ref made some strange decisions today. Even far as it was a straight red all day long. Trevor, did you even see Mount's goal? Because I didn't see a replay of it. I turned off because I had to go out, go see my father-in-law because he's in hospital. And they spoken to, who did they speak to? Mbumo and Martinez, and that took forever. And then I didn't see anything about the decision, the third goal. And at that point, there was no replays to see if he was a gnat's hair off, let alone enough to disallow it. So he's quality, Trevor. He is quality. He doesn't pass. He's very much I think his YouTube name before United signed him was Mini Messi or Baby Messi or something like that. He's very much similar to a young Ronaldo. He can dribble the ball, and he does too much with it. But by God, he can score some goals from angles. But what people leave out is going, oh, he's 15, he's 16, and he's right on the cuffs now, going 15 to 16. Is that some of the players he's playing against are actually the same age in that under 18s, because the 17-year-olds and 18-year-olds that would qualify of that age are already playing up in the under 21s. So they fill it with a lot of the under 16s. So that goes for every team we play against, not just ours. So sometimes he's actually rinsing players that are of the same age of him, but they try to make out he's taking on better players because he's in the 18s. Anyone who knows football, if you've got a child, that your child can play 2 years up. In academy football, that rule doesn't exist to a degree. I'm not sure exactly how it works outside of high school age, so 15 upwards. As long as you're in year 11, you can play. So last season, my goalkeeper for my under 18s was in year 11, and he's playing in the under 18s. Technically, that's 3 age groups above, but it's just one because we don't have an under 17s. So yeah, he is good, but there are some other players out there that I highly rate. Kai Rooney's making appearances alongside him. He's got his dad's spirit. I love it, and he might even be technically as gifted as his dad, but we just don't get to see enough of it right now. There's who else is in the 18s that I really like. Actually, he's gone up. So really, it's the 21s. A lot of the good 18s from last season are now in the 21s, like Bayern Carey, Mantaro, the Fletchers, Freights. Oh God, what's his name? The left plays on the left. I can't think what his name's gone. Obviously, Obi. But we have all these players. Most of them will end up playing in Div 2, Div 1, and if they're lucky, Championship, because they are superb. But there's just not enough spaces in teams to get them, and they want first team football. 100% too overhyped, the youth at time. But you got to make your stories. You got to make your stories. So there's only a handful with high potential. Exactly. Looks like he was onside to me, but VAR was a bit misleading. When isn't it? After that AFCON VAR, I saw the Egypt South Africa game. I don't think I'm ever going to trust VAR ever again. I know it's a different country and that and how people use it, but I don't like VAR, and just these things just make it worse. Like a cross or a mix of Neymar and Cunha. Yeah, yeah. Freights for you. Freights is great, and I think Freights has been unlucky that he hasn't been given a chance. But they brought both the Fletchers in. I thought that was a bad move. I would have brought one Fletcher in and one Freights. Maybe I only brought both Fletchers in because when Sir Amrin was looking at him, he couldn't tell the difference between which one was which. Maybe it's as simple as that, being identical twins. Although one has a beard and one doesn't. And talking of beards, boys, I think it's time. I think beating City, I'm going to have to follow through on my word that I've done on some of the other channels. The next show, this will not be here. It'll be back down to a nice bit of, 5 o'clock shadow and no beard. And we'll see how long we keep that off for. What about the captain for the under-18s? Yeah, the reason I didn't say it, I can't pronounce his name. He's part of the same family, isn't he? With there's like three brothers in three different age groups, and their dad's like some kind of like ex-Polish military or something like that. And his boys are absolutely stacked, and they're just so disciplined, and they do everything it takes. Remember Freights on the Asian tour played really well, and then he came on. Yeah, he did. Only chance he has got. Still very young, 17, 18. Exactly, and that is it. They are young, and it's really not a big deal if they're not making their debut. What is a big deal is if you're in the 23s and your age is 22. Yeah. No, mate, it's going. It will go. I'll take it. It's coming off tomorrow. I meant to do it today, but like I said, I had to go and see my father-in-law. He's just had his hip done. So, Danny, is that it? The Igmarov, is that the brothers? All three of them? But because I wasn't sure if it's Bayern Kerry, Igmarov, or the one you just said. I'm gonna absolutely butcher the name. How do we pronounce it? Where is it? See if I can read it. Read it better than think it. I've lost it. There it is. 18's captain. Well, it sounds like Abramovich, doesn't it? Agbro. I'm going to call him Abramovich. That's my pronunciation. The under-18s captain is Abramovich. Who knows if he's as rich? His brother is a professional fighter. Yeah, MMA, isn't it? It's an MMA fighter. Ballers. Yeah. Yeah, Trevor. Younger brother too plays for us. Yeah. Yeah. And that's what athletes are. In a family, it goes one way or another. They have absolutely nothing to do with the sport, or they just find their sport and they're just as bloody good as it because they're just driven. I don't, you're a footballer, you do everything it takes to be a footballer. You're an MMA fighter, you do everything it takes to be that. And that's all the dad's done. He just pushes them in the right way. Hey, you can spell it out, Ibrahimov, but I think it's just coming out of my mouth with my pronunciation. Just can't get my tongue around them. I try my best, and as long as I don't see them face to face and get them wrong, right? They all must have a nickname. He's just going to be Ibra. There you go, Ibra, like Ibrahimovic. That took me years to get right. But yeah, so yes, going back to this and going back to our celebration. Manchester is red. That is the title of today's show. It is red. It's staying red, and how much money have Man City spent compared to us? We're probably similar. We spend our money paying debt. They spend their money on players. Do we think this is a one-off? I think so. I don't want to say it. I think a lot of things went in our favour. City were out of form. They had to dragging Haaland off the pitch. Thank you very much, because that guy needs one chance, and they did not create him any. They weren't crossing the ball when he was in there. They weren't feeding it into his feet when he was asking for it. You know, that's going to have helped us out big time. So, Lacey Freight, JJ, all potential to make it. But potential, it's not about the potential. It's about how level-headed you can stay, and that's what we lack. We lack the older players to put their arm around these younger players and keep them calm. Look at Lacey's sending off. You know, if Lacey had played in the Keane era with Giggs, people like that, that doesn't happen. They would have been on him. Oi, next one, they're going to try and straight away, you're going to have an arm around you. They're going to try and get you sent off. They're going to dive. You can't react. You know, so that's what it is. What we got here, all we need is one to make it. Hopefully, the lot. Well, we need about 5-6 to make it at the moment, because we ain't got the money to buy the players, because it's going to end up going to the Buccaneers again. You know, if the Glazers are over here for having their meeting beginning of the week, they're probably looking for their dividends because we're coming to the end of the NFL season now. Buccaneers haven't gone through to the playoffs, so they're going to need more money to reinvest for the draft for next season. So they'll already start looking to try and get money in there on the ball mark. Yes, I do try to be, but yeah, where was I before reading those comments? I do love reading the comments. Sometimes it does put me horribly off my stride. Okay, that's a good question. I generally don't think that's who it is. I haven't seen anything confirmed. Would it be a good loan? He has been pinnacle to AC Milan in the last 2-3 years. Very injury prone though, I will say, and I'm not sure who he comes in for. If we're signing Loftus-Cheek, he's taking out Mainu from today's starting lineup for Loftus-Cheek. So that's how I see that, because Loftus-Cheek isn't a defensive midfielder, but we need more importantly. So I don't see it. He's still started in the last 9 out of the last 20 games, and every game he comes off the bench. But he's had knocks and he's been coming back from injury. So I'm not sure. Another ex-Chelsea player as well. So he could link up with Mount, but Mount's on the bench. So, you know, they can hold hands on the bench. Injury prone 100%, yeah. No, thank you. It does make no sense. The only one that made sense was Gallagher. He was the only loan deal I saw that made sense. But you could, because he played under Simeone, he's defensive midfielder, dark arts, work hard, covers every blade of grass. That makes perfect sense to me. But we're not going to go out and spend money on this man right here. Go for Anderson, ASAP, unbelievable today again. Exactly. But Anderson, we're going to have to pay 100 million for right now. And I'm guessing someone's gone interim manager, checkbook shut. We're not paying out for that for something that maybe Thomas Tuchel, Nagelsmann, or someone's got someone else in mind for how they want to play. I think Anderson fits into Tuchel's plans, so it would work if that was your first choice manager. But he's my first choice, but I don't know if he'll be the Ineos's because of the arguments they had last time. And funny enough, Danny, I was just about to say this, as he's just put it. Do it, get him before the World Cup. Yes. If England, or should I say when England go, doesn't matter if we only go semi-finals, and I think we can go further. If we go that far, that could be £150 million midfielder now. The difference between buying him this month or buying him in, well, it's not even going to be June or July, is it? It's going to be July, August by the time the World Cup's done and he's been on holiday and we get the deal done. We could be looking for 150 million for him. Same with Walton, same with maybe not Belieber, who I don't necessarily want. I'd rather go to Atalanta. I've said it 1,000 times. I will not stop saying it, and get Ederson. I think he suits our style of play. You know, there's others out there. Even, well, we probably wouldn't get him now. Hillman from Sporting is superb. Well, thank you for popping in, Trevor. You know, make sure you give it a thumbs up, hit the likes, and that before you shoot off out. The next one, yes, you will definitely. 100 million and Ugarte. Okay. Well, Ugarte might be all they get if they end up fighting off relegation, because right now it's still not working for them. So yeah, Trev, good night. Thank you for joining me, and I will catch you on the next one. So yeah, what else? Any other questions we got about today's game or anything like that going forward? Because just on the hour mark now, pretty much covered everything and why Manchester is red. You know, we can start looking at Pep and pictures like other channels do and have a good laugh. But we all know next week Man City could have turned up and absolutely smash us, because this is probably the wake up call they needed, because we now need to stop Arsenal. So, Danny, got anything you want to say? Danny. All right. Well, if that is the case, if you made it this far in the video, coming up at the end of the video, there should be a link to the United Lens. Go there. You'll find the community tab where there'll be plenty of questions in that. And then on the other side, at the end, not for you, Danny, because you're live, but when you're after the live, there should be a link to one of the other videos. You can catch me over on TikTok, where you'll find some of my takes on different aspects of the game. Quicker, a few lives where you can get to know me a bit better and ask questions. But more importantly, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and get your notifications turned on, like these guys in the chat have. So when I go live, you can come straight in. But, you know, thank you for joining me, and let's all raise a glass to Manchester United, Michael Carrick, and tonight, guys, United has turned Manchester red yet again. I'll catch you all again on United Lens. Good night.